Some ghosts scream, some rattle chains, but one returned not with rage, but with a plea, and justice listened. In the winter of 1897, the sleepy hills of Greenbrier County, West Virginia, woke to tragedy. A young bride, barely 23, was found cold and lifeless in her home. Her name was Zona Hester Shue. To her husband, she was his angel. To her mother, she was a warning unheeded. They said she died of natural causes. A heart failure, perhaps. Doctors saw nothing amiss. The husband buried her quickly. Too quickly. He dressed her himself, tied a stiff collar tight around her throat, placed a veil over her face, and when mourners gathered, they said he wept too much, clutched her body, blocked their view. Grief or guilt? Her mother, Mary Jane Hester, felt something was wrong. A cold certainty grew in her bones, a whisper behind her ear at night, a smell of decaying lilacs in her parlor, until one night, Zona returned. 4 nights in a row, Mary Jane was visited by the spirit of her daughter. She didn't float. She didn't moan. She spoke. She told the truth that the living refused to see. Her death had not been natural. Her husband, Trout Shue, had murdered her. He had crushed her windpipe, snapped her neck in a violent rage, and when Zona turned to walk away, her ghostly head twisted all the way around. Mary Jane took the tale to the authorities, not out of madness, but with conviction. She begged for her daughter's body to be exhumed, and when they opened the grave, they found exactly what the ghost had described. Zona's windpipe was crushed, her neck broken between the first and second vertebrae. The cause of death was no longer a mystery. It was murder, and the only witness was already dead. Courts are made for the living. Testimonies, evidence, oaths, all require a beating heart and a steady hand. But in Greenbrier County, the dead took the stand. Trout Shue, the grieving husband, was arrested. His history, dark. 3 wives. 1 dead under suspicious circumstances. 1 fled for her life. And the 3rd, now buried on a hill overlooking the valley, with a broken neck. The trial of Edward Trout Shue began in June 1897. He wore a neatly pressed suit, smiled at the jury, held a Bible in his hand, but all eyes were on Mary Jane Hester, a mother, a widow, a woman who claimed she had received a message from beyond the grave. She came to me 4 nights in a row. She said he had broken her neck. I did not imagine it. I know my child's voice. The courtroom fell silent. Some laughed behind cupped hands. Others stared wide-eyed, afraid to blink. Zona's ghost was not called by the prosecution, but by the defense. They thought it would discredit Mary Jane, expose her as hysterical, unreliable. Instead, her testimony stirred something ancient in the hearts of the jury, a belief that not all justice walks with flesh. One by one, neighbors spoke of Trout's strange behavior, his obsession with keeping Zona's neck covered, his violent temper, his lies. Piece by piece, the spirit's story matched the evidence. Even the broken vertebrae matched where Zona's ghost had said it would. The jury deliberated for just over an hour. Guilty. Life in prison. But the Hills did not forgive so easily. Before the year ended, a group of prisoners dragged Trout into a corner of the penitentiary and beat him until the guards arrived. He died just a few years later, alone, unmourned. His soul, if it still lingered, was not one that whispered, "Mother, you listened. Now I can rest." Graves are not meant to speak, but when they do, you must listen. Greenbrier County remembered her, not as a victim, but as a voice that pierced the veil between life and death. Zona Hester Shue was no longer just a name etched in stone. She was a legend, a ghost, who testified. After the trial, whispers swirled like mist. Some called it folklore, others, divine intervention. But the stone remains, still standing on the hill above Meadow Bluff. A modest grave, a modest life. But her story, it became immortal. The tale of the Greenbrier ghost drifted beyond West Virginia. It was taught in law classes, passed around campfires, scribbled in yellowed newspapers and midnight letters. Why? Because it remains the only known case in American history where a ghost's testimony helped convict a murderer. The court may never have admitted the dead to the witness stand, but the jury believed. Zona's spirit was never seen again. Not in the parlor, not in dreams, not in the woods behind her house. She had told her truth, and that, it seemed, was enough. But some say, on quiet autumn evenings, if you pass by her grave as the sun dips low, you might hear her voice, soft as a breath behind your ear, saying, "I am at peace, but I will always be watching."